Hi there, Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk Bounty video. And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Grand Admiral Thrawn from the Heir to the Empire 3-pack. You may have already noticed on the channel that I have reviewed the other two figures from that 3-pack, and this video is the turn of Grand Admiral Thrawn. And I wanted to do this one separately, especially because we've already had two releases of Grand Admiral Thrawn already. We first had the version from Rebels, and then we had the live action version from the Ahsoka series, and now we have the one that probably everybody wanted in the first place, the version from the Heir to the Empire. And I will be comparing all three of them in terms of the loose figures, the differences, and also very quickly the card backs as well. So if you do happen to enjoy the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe if you are new. And you'll notice that the one in the center, which is the one that we're going to be concentrating on the most in this video, because it is the one that I want to review, the Heir to the Empire version, is the only version out of the three that is unpunched. So if you're a carded collector, this is probably the one that you want for Grand Admiral Thrawn. Of course, it was his, first appearance, Heir to the Empire, the Timothy Zahn Thrawn trilogy books, and they've done a really good job with the card back as well. We'll look at that in a bit more detail in just a moment. But the reason it's unpunched is because it was packed into that 3-pack, where it's a sealed sort of mini box set, if you like, where you get 3 unpunched cards. The other two are mainline figures and essentially are factory punched. So with all that being said, let's just take a look at the card backs really quick. Okay then, so first off, on the left hand side, the first release was Grand Admiral Thrawn from Star Wars Rebels. As you can see by the card back image there, that is an image taken straight from the animated show, but the figure itself was a realistic interpretation of that character. So the image on the card back didn't really match the figure as such. I mean, the uniform does, but certainly not the head sculpt, because when they do animated characters in the vintage collection, they tend to sort of give them a realistic portrait. Now, the one on the right-hand side, the version from Ahsoka, pretty much uses the same body. The only real difference between that one is the legs. You can see that his trousers are the sort of wider type trousers there, whereas these are more straight-legged. But apart from that, the figure is almost identical apart from the head sculpt. Obviously, this one is based on the actor that played Grand Admiral Thrawn in the Ahsoka series. And the one in the middle, the Grand Admiral Thrawn from the Heir to the Empire, is kind of the same body. They've used the same legs as the live action version, pretty much the same torso, but you can see that on his shoulders, he does have those epaulets, those sort of gold tassels coming down from those shoulders, which look pretty cool. You also get his little creature as well, which I believe is pronounced an Salamiri. I think Salamari, something like that. I've never really actually heard anyone say it out loud, but that's how I'm saying it anyway. So that's kind of an overview of the differences, but we will take a look at them all loose, standing next to each other. But there you've got the 3 card backs. You've got the Rebels version, and then you've got the live action version, and then you've got the very cool Heir to the Empire version, which we'll take a closer up look at right now. So yeah, awesome image there of Grand Admiral Thrawn with his red eyes. Really, really good. And you can just see his Star Destroyer in the background there behind the red name pill. Unpunched, as I mentioned. And yeah, I don't think they could have really picked a better image for him, to be honest. VC360 in the line, this one. And you can just see the figure on the back there with the card back and the Vintage Collection logo. And that's it. So we're going to open this one up and we're going to compare him against the other two. Okay then, so here are all 3 Grand Admiral Thrawns standing next to each other with the new Heir to the Empire version on the right-hand side. I think it's pretty obvious which one he is. But the thing that I noticed immediately was that he is a lot whiter than the other two. I don't know whether it's coming out on camera or not, but the other two have that sort of off-white uniform, whereas the new version is definitely a brighter white. I'm just going to bring in the officer from the Officer 4-pack, the one in the white uniform, just so we can take a comparison as well. And you can see that he is a different white again. He is the brightest of them all, but most certainly the new version on the right-hand side, the Heir to the Empire version, is definitely whiter than the other two. You'll also notice that the head sculpt that they've used for the Heir to the Empire version is exactly the same head sculpt that they have used for the Star Wars Rebels version, except for the fact that they've painted it more closely to the Ahsoka version, which was quite interesting, really. They don't seem to be able to make up their minds about what colour skin Grand Admiral Thrawn should have. The only other difference that you can see is that they've kind of mixed and matched the figures. So as I mentioned with the trousers, the Rebels version has the more straight leg trousers, whereas the live action version and the Heir to the Empire version have these sort of poofy trousers, I want to call them. Another difference is the blasters. So the blaster that comes with the Heir to the Empire version is the same blaster that comes with the Rebels version. The live action version has a smaller blaster, different color as well. His one is black. These two are silver. However, they do use the same holster for all three, even though this blaster is a little bit smaller. It just fits in there a little bit more snug. That is all really. But apart from that, the only other obvious thing is the epaulets on the new Heir to the Empire Grand Admiral Thrawn. And they look great. In my opinion, that is what Grand Admiral Thrawn should look like. And they look great. In my opinion, it's easily the best of the three. I don't know, the gold epaulets just really make it for me. And now we've sort of compared all three and you've seen them side by side, we're going to take a closer up look at the new one, the Heir to the Empire Grand Admiral Thrawn. Okay then, so first things first, his little pet is not stuck to him. It is actually really loose. You have to be quite careful with it. It will fall off quite easily. And we'll take a closer up look at that in a second. But let's just take a look at Grand Admiral Thrawn. As I mentioned, same head sculpt as the Star Wars Rebels version, but with a different blue toned skin. Same hair, same sculpt, same everything. But there is those epaulets on his shoulders. You can see there's some detail going around those. Pretty cool. We'll check out whether that hinders the articulation of his shoulders in a second. And you can see that he's got his rank badge there and these cylinders on either side in those little pockets. And then you can see he's also got a bit of paint applications on the sort of silver buttons on his collar there. There's the silver blaster inside that holster. And there's his little black boots. Just got his arms tucked behind his back at the moment. But to me, in terms of the sculpt, you know, it just looks like they've added on those epaulets onto his shoulders there. But that for me is Grand Admiral Thrawn. The other two are okay, but for me, this is the guy that I'm going to be displaying with all of my Night Troopers and all of my other characters from Ahsoka, to be honest. I didn't really like Thrawn's appearance in the Ahsoka show, if I'm brutally honest. And this one, for me, just, you know, in every way is superior. So even though it might not be screen accurate to the Ahsoka show, this is the one that I am going to be using. Very, very cool. Taking a look at his little calamari, I think that's how you pronounce it. There is some sculpting work on his sort of scales and things like that. Paint application on the eye. You can just see it there. And then you've got a different tone underneath the body as well. Cool little accessory there. As I said, it fits around his neck okay, but it does fall off quite easily. And I do not know if this is the same sculpt that they used for that one that came out in I think it was in a 2-pack, a Legacy Collection 2-pack. I think that's where we got this creature the last time. It's probably a new sculpt, to be fair. I doubt they'll have something that old, the tooling for it or whatever. So yeah, still nice to get another creature. And you know, these are believed to sort of repel the Force. So if he's got that round his neck, he's going to be safe from, you know, Force users and things like that, which is a pretty cool thing to have. Okay, so in terms of the articulation, the head is on a barbell, lots of range of motion there. And the shoulders, you'll see, they go up quite nicely. And you'll see that those epaulets there are sort of stuck on to the top of the shoulder. You can see there. And they are of like a soft vinyl plastic, nowhere near as rubbery and stretchy as the Shin Hati figure that I reviewed the other day. Those were not good at all. These seem to be a lot sturdier. And of course, that's going to allow for the articulation to work for that shoulder. We have hinges at the elbows, hinges at the wrists, nice torso joint, exactly the same for all of the Imperial officers that use this sculpt. You've got the barbell hip, split at the thigh, knee joint, which unfortunately doesn't go past 90, and then he does have rocker ankles. But yeah, there he is. Grand Admiral Thrawn from Heir to the Empire. I'm sure this one is going to make a lot of people happy. And I'm sure this is the one that, you know, people always wanted, basically. The original Thrawn. So there you go then, guys. That is Grand Admiral Thrawn from Heir to the Empire. And as you can see, I've got him now holding his blaster, which he holds really well in that hand. Trigger finger works perfectly. And yeah, as you've seen, it fits into the holster nicely as well. So that's not going to go anywhere. Either way you choose to display it, whether he's holding it or he has it holstered. And as you can see, he has his Calamari on his neck there as well. At the end of the day, I'm not too sure how many dynamic poses you are going to be getting your Imperial officer into. Most of mine just stand there with their arms behind their back or to attention or whatever. But that is Grand Admiral Thrawn. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you've enjoyed the comparison between the three that we now have in the line. This one for me is head and shoulders above the other two in my opinion. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching, and thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members as always. Thank you for the extra support. It is greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we shall see you on the next one.